Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a video talking about who was it exactly that poisoned King Joffrey at his wedding celebration, and also giving my general thoughts on it. Alright, good stuff. So I thought it was quite the episode. Game of Thrones Season 4, Episode 2, The Lion and the Rose. Was curious if we were going to see it or not, what was going to happen. Was the purple wedding going to occur or not? Of course it did. Just a warning to everyone out there who... This doesn't contain spoilers, of course, for the books, Song of Ice and Fire. But it does contain spoilers for the television series Game of Thrones. So if you don't want to know, you're probably not interested in this discussion topic, you may as well click off here. So that said, the person who's responsible for it, I thought they kind of handled it pretty well in the television series. They set it up so that it wasn't obvious who did it at that exact moment. They didn't show any scenes of someone dropping something in the wine. They didn't show anything like that. All we basically got to see was, from an outsider's view, everything pointed towards Tyrion for the most part. You know, he was having sort of like an argument or a weird type situation with Joffrey, of course, prick, who's just being a jerk to him, pouring the wine in his head, all this kind of stuff. And of course, everyone got to see what they would think is a motive for him to have done this. Had he have had some kind of poison on him or something of the sort, that he would have been able to use readily available to poison, of course, Joffrey. So from everyone's perspective at that time, even Cersei, I'm sure that Cersei does in fact believe that he is guilty and that he has in fact done it, even though it is actually one of the people you may not suspect, and that's Olenna Redwyne. I like to call her Granny Tyrell, which Game of Thrones nerds always go nuts on me. Is it? She's not, that's not her name. I don't know. She's Olenna of House Tyrell, the grandmother of Marjorie Tyrell. So it's kind of revealed later on, or at least in the books it was, from Littlefinger, that part, or the reason why she did it was essentially because she didn't want Marjorie to go through that kind of fate of being married to Joffrey. But once you're in that type of situation, you can't pull yourself out of it. You know, once Marjorie volunteered to marry Joffrey, everything like that, once they found out from Sansa afterwards that he was this monster and the things he had done with Eddard and making her even look at the head and everything like that, just brutal stuff. There's no way she could have gotten Marjorie out of that situation. Once she had signed up, so to speak, she couldn't opt out. It was basically life or death type situation. They knew how cruel Joffrey was, and if she had done something like that, she'd be hunted down and killed for sure. There's probably nowhere she could run where he wouldn't be able to get at her. Even though Tyrell, of course, is a powerful house, it doesn't matter. He would have been able to track her down. So instead of going that route and probably having Marjorie killed to save her from that, this is what she did. And basically it was so slick that nobody would notice it. If you watch the episode, I believe it's at about 32 minutes or so roughly, where she goes over to see Sansa. The necklace that Dontis, the fool, gave her essentially is poison, and there's one of the jewels on it at the side that she takes off of it as she's playing with Sansa's hair. But you wouldn't even really notice it. Like, unless you watch it a few times, you'll kind of see it, but they don't show it obvious. Like, it's not zoomed in on, it's not, anything of the sort. They kind of, with Game of Thrones, they always kind of assume that the audience is very intelligent. So they don't show us everything just for, the average person to just get it. Oh, okay, I saw that. They don't zoom in on it and pause or anything like that. They barely show the necklace. But if you look at it very closely, she does take the part, I believe it's from this side, right here, off of it, and then she walks back. Afterwards, we don't see what she did. She basically talks about how she paid for all the food and everything like that. And then she kind of walks back over. But you don't see exactly what happened. The wine was kind of like over in that type of, sit like near her, near Marjorie, near Joffrey. Marjorie must have known what was going to be happening in order to, have her not become poisoned. You wouldn't want to risk like her being poisoned. I'd be surprised if she didn't know what was going to happen. But nevertheless, I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I finally, see Eddard, be able to rest in peace, that kind of thing. Yes, I know he's a fictional character, but still, I get passionate about it because I love the show, and we put so many hours into watching it to see that sort of revenge, even if it wasn't taken by him. And it was also kind of cool how she's talking to Sansa about some of the tragedies she's gone through as she's doing that, sort of as if to tell her, hint at that, that something's going to happen, or that she's going to be, getting retribution, so to speak, for her family, or at least in some way, which is very cool. So in terms of the overall, how it all went, I liked it. I thought it was great. I thought the, when they turn him over and you get to see his face was awesome. It was just, the makeup and everything looked awesome. And, it was really cool how they shot it, so it wasn't obvious. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of people out there wondering, people, Googling it, that kind of thing. So I thought I would just kind of get a video up there giving my thoughts on it. And, if they go the same route as the books, which I imagine they would, because Game of Thrones is basically the same. They wouldn't want to change major events, and this is about as major as you can get. So, they changed little things, but for the most part, the overall story is basically the same. So I imagine they're going to stay with the same route. Especially, after you watch it a couple times, once I saw it a second, third time over, and I was really looking closely, you can see definitely that's the way they went with it. Also, too, she had prepared all the food and everything like that, and she also covered for herself really well, because as soon as he goes down and everything, she gets up, and plays this whole part as if she's so concerned that Joffrey has gone down, of course, because she knows what's happening. So great stuff. Really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great death. It was long overdue. They kept us dangling that carrot for a long time, and as a reward for watching, as a reward for sticking with the series, they gave it to us. I loved it. One of my favorite moments in all of Game of Thrones, if not maybe my favorite. Maybe my favorite. I'd have to say I did love it. Very felt just for sure. So let me know what you guys thought about it. What you think about the whole situation, and of course, the most exciting part is now you've got Tyrion. Most people, at least probably my favorite surviving character, and he's going to be blamed for all of it. So really exciting for the rest of season 4. Definitely looks like it's going to be maybe my favorite season yet of Game of Thrones. Amazing season. And we're only 2 episodes in. Anyway, I'll call it here. Let me know what you guys think. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. This is Trev, as always, saying peace.